Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, this is quite a day. We're here to celebrate Flower Communion and Celebration Sunday and our last church service of the regular church year. And let's not forget Father's Day. So before we do anything else, can we take a moment to honor those who are fathers? If you have had the pleasure and the chore of experiencing that in your lifetime, we invite you to stand now, please. And be recognized. Wonderful, thank you. And we have, yes, Jeff? For those who have taken on the role of fathers, exactly. Thank you. Always good to have some help in the congregation. Welcome to Celebration Sunday. Today marks our last worship service of the year and a time to recognize all the ways that our members and friends and staff members have contributed to the success of the church, both as a spiritual community and as an institution in the larger community. And lest there be any confusion, when I say worship service, I do not mean that we are here to worship ourselves. I mean worship in the manner of holding high those things we most value, the joy in community and the spirit of commitment to a common endeavor. Our church year started on September 11th, a day that we redeemed from its sometimes tragic implications by the joy that we found in coming together on In-Gathering Sunday, the first time the church community gathered for an in-person service for 2.5 years. And what a joy that was. And that was also my first time in the pulpit here for 18 years, so it was a day for me to celebrate as well. Today is the 41st Sunday of the church year, and we met on every Sunday but one, choosing to celebrate Christmas Eve rather than Christmas Day, and welcoming that evening our largest congregation of the year, accepting In-Gathering Sunday. Today we gather as a culmination of our year together, honoring the contribution of the many friends who have kept us running and mostly healthy, a bow of recognition to the lingering power of the COVID-19 virus, which knocked many of us down, but none of us out, thankfully. We recognize today the work of the committees who plan the activities and strategies, the teams that carried out those plans and strategies, the parish committee which approved those plans when necessary, the staff which provides the backbone of the church, and the members and friends who contributed to the vitality of our worship services. We start with the caring team, which is rightly named. They did a wonderful job explaining to us all the nature and scope of their work during the worship service they presented in March. I'm not sure that all the members of the team are here today, but I invite them to stand, not only to be acknowledged, but for you to recognize them if you're ever in need of a ride to a medical appointment, a meal while recovering from surgery, or just someone to talk with in a time of need. There's Sue Curtis, Dave Kramer, Sue St. Germain, and Mal Marvell. The membership committee offers opportunities for get-togethers. Be on the lookout for trivia night sometime soon. Make sure that there are greeters to welcome you on Sunday morning. Follows up with folks who submit visitor cards and partners with the hospitality committee who ensures that there's a nice and welcoming coffee hour following the service. For this, we have to thank the membership chair, Doreen Lavasser, and her team of Cindy Bernard and Sandy Brankin, and hospitality chair, Andrea Priest. and all who hosted Coffee Hour Fellowship this year. We'd especially like to acknowledge Tony Soares and Stephen Lorette for their sparkling contributions. The Mother's Day breakfast was a gathering to remember. In fact, there were many events throughout the church year that were gatherings to remember. Many of them fundraisers, with the emphasis on fun. Kelly Lowndes and the Religious Exploration Committee coordinated a snack and play station at July's Sip and Stroll event. In September, Kelly and Doreen Levasseur staffed a snack sale and information table at the fall Sip and Stroll. Our October yard sale was hosted by Tony Soares, Bob Waterman, and Andrea Priest. In October, John Mullen and members of the music committee organized and led a road rally, which was greatly enjoyed by all who participated. Thank you, John. In November, Katie Allen coordinated a holiday craft fair. Great fun. In November and December, Bob Waterman and Andrea Priest coordinated a holiday auction to which many church members donated items for bidding. In January, Andrea again and Doreen again organized a soup sale and gift basket raffle. In April, Bob Waterman again and Andrea Priest yet again coordinated a spring auction, this year's largest fundraiser. Special thanks to all members, friends, and community members who made it such a success. As Bill Howe has so cogently stated, social justice is widely viewed by this congregation as an opportunity to strengthen our commitment to our faith and our connections to one another and the surrounding community, and is a means to engage our children and newcomers in serving our larger principles. The social justice team fulfilled its mission this year by partnering with other local nonprofit organizations, including Bridgewater Communities for Civil Rights, BCCR, the Brockton branch of the NAACP, Sustainable Middleboro, special shout out to Kimberly French and all those who are active members of Sustainable Middleboro, as well as active members of this church. And the Matthew Mission Food Pantry, ably led by our own Norm Grenier at the First Parish Church, Unitarian Universalist in Taunton. The team has done a wonderful job in informing the church community of the many events in and around Middleboro via weekly updates on our website. And if you have not yet checked that out, please do so. Dodie Atkins Perry provides those weekly updates and co-chairs the team with Deanne Bonner. The other team members are Bill Howe, Bob Waterman, Lois Aldrich, and Christine Hoyle. I want to especially draw your attention to the upcoming domestic violence awareness event we'll be hosting next month. And during the announcements, we'll say a little more about that. And what about the physical plant, this building that we meet in every week, and which houses most of our activities and fundraisers? For keeping our house in good repair, we have to thank the Building and Grounds team, headed by Susie Sherman, and including official member Mark McQueen and unofficial member Bill Sherman, as well as many who volunteer for special projects. Special projects this year included tightening the rods across the sanctuary here, for which we thank Brian Kowalski and Barry Simon. Oven repair, Susie and Bill Sherman's special donation helped defray the cost. When I first came, there was all kinds of work being done on the lights here, and I know that Stephen Lorette had a large part to do with that, as well as Rick Bernard and Bill Howe, and I don't even know who else. That was all just as I was coming in. The elevator needed a minor adjustment. Thank you, Susie, for seeing to that, make sure it was taken care of. And we finally have doorbells, ding, ding. And we have Jim Bonner and Alan Melchior to thank for their installation. Patty Simon completed the fall cleanup of the grounds at a cost that provided substantial savings to the church. Many smaller projects also got done. I remember a day in the fall when I was called upon to hold a ladder in the chancel while Rick Bernard, precariously perched, tightened up the light fixtures which had started to dangle. And speaking of Rick, we owe great thanks to him and Cindy Bernard for their generous donation that allowed us to replace 5 of the difficult to open windows in the fellowship hall with modern, new, energy efficient windows of tempered glass. Thank you, Rick and Cindy. And Susie and Bill and Mark, Barry, Patty, and Alan. Coming up next year is an exciting project, the refurbishment and renovation of the parlor, including painting and furnishings. And the building and grounds team will be seeking your input. The Memorial Garden team has overseen the maintenance and continued improvement of the Memorial Garden, led by Patty Simon. It is certainly looking wonderful this spring and early summer. I hope you've had a chance to enjoy it. And thank you to Patty, Susan Hotchkiss, Cindy Bernard, Holly Begley, Jeff Stevens, and everyone else who's helped keep the garden in such beautiful shape this year. The technology team keeps our technical systems and equipment in working order, maintains our church website, which has really improved in quality thanks to Dan Hotchkiss over the past year. Social media accounts and email addresses, and streams and records our church services. Contributors include J.R. Puccillo-Dunphy, Maria Puccillo-Dunphy, Dan Hotchkiss, Stephen Lorette, Rob Dragunis, Frank Gerard, Bob Waterman, Jeff Giddings, and Valerie Ortelt, whose contributions as church administrator really can't be overstated. And if you haven't had a chance to meet her, I hope that one day you'll be there. The stream team, led by Dan Hotchkiss, and the sound team, led by Stephen Lorette, work together to live stream and record our Sunday services on YouTube. Sermons from each service are then posted to our YouTube site for later viewing. A proposal for upgrading the sound system put together by Dan Hotchkiss and the sound team was approved by the parish committee, so we'll be seeing some improvements there in the year to come, which of course is important as we move to an electronic future. Some of us enthusiastically, some of us being dragged along. J.R. Puccillo-Dunphy kept our office printers in repair. The church cannot run without an income to cover expenses. Though some funds come through investments and some through our fundraisers, the greater source by far is income from your pledges, for which we offer sincere thanks to all of you, members and friends. Pledging is coordinated through the Spring Pledge Drive, which was led this year by Gil Cote and Mark and Cheryl McQueen, and with a staff of volunteers, which included Jim Bonner, Bill Howe, Tanya Trazik, and Bill Sherman. The 57 individuals or families who contributed donated $168,000, a $6,000 increase over last year, and an amount the church is truly grateful for. And as long as we're talking about finances, we express our gratitude to Bill Howe, who leads our investment team, as well as the other members of that team. Finally, I hate to think how the church would have completed its work throughout the year without the guidance and leadership of our governing body, the parish committee. Great thanks to Jim Bonner, President, Vice President Bob Waterman, and the finance team led by Mark McQueen and including Jeff Giddings and Gil Cote at various times, and our reader secretary extraordinaire, Lois Aldrich, and at-large member, Nicole Sykes. And because he's retiring after many years in his various roles in church finances, please express now our appreciation for the services provided by Mark McQueen. Thank you. Now we have a few more people to thank and a few more people to do the thanking. So first I invite up Christine Hoyle to say a few words about the Religious Exploration Committee this year.
Good morning. Our Religious Exploration Committee is small, but we have had lots of help. Our Religious Exploration Committee has pretty much been Kelly and myself, and unofficially Chris Dargelis, and recently she's agreed to join. So we now have 3 people. So if anybody else is interested, let me know. I know that I will forget people, but we would like to thank people who helped out, even though not members of the RE committee. We had Chris Dargelis, who's helped out throughout the year when needed with RE classes and with youth group. We've had Barbara with youth group. We've had Nico organize the RE closet in the library. The RE coffee hours, yes. Last names. I don't know if I can do that. Let's see, RE coffee hours, we've had the Gunn family, and we've had Chris Dargelis and Seb Gillespie. Chalice and Chimes, we've had Nico and Seb and Emmett and Eamon and Teddy and Isla. RE Service, all the children and the youth. Let's see, we've also had children and youth selling popcorn and helping out with setup and breakdown from the Sip and Stroll and other events. And Andrea for the Fun Friday Valentine craft and potluck. And all those who have read for the message for all ages. And I'm sure there are things that we have forgotten, but we do appreciate all who have helped out. Thank you.
And Susan Hotchkiss has a few people, and perhaps more than a few people, to thank for music contributions this year.
I'm happy to honor our music volunteers, without whom our services would not be nearly as interesting. We have a lot of people who participate in the music program here, for which I am eternally grateful. I get a lot of support and ideas from this community for what to offer to this congregation. Let me start with the music committee, which meets monthly. Right now, we have Bette Giddings as chair. She's a super chair, very well organized. We have Nicola Wilbar turning out wonderful minutes. We have members Katie Allen, Nancy Backus, Dodie Atkins-Perry, Valerie Fontaine, Cindy Bernard, and retiring this year from our committee, but active for part of the year, was John Mullen and Linda Thompson, who finally retired, a well-deserved retirement after 33 years in the music committee. So that's a lot. We have a few folks who are not in the choir who contribute beautifully. Adrienne Williams on percussion. When she's here, she just brings every hymn to life. Nancy Kidd, can't express the glory of her musicianship. She's an incredible musician. Julie Gould brings her flute and plays for us. And we have some kids who join us, who will be joining us this next year with our flute choir coming up. So the folks in the choir are amazing. We practice weekly. Rehearsals are fun, but also extremely structured, because otherwise we'd never get anything accomplished. We have great voices. We have about 6 music majors and about 6 music non-readers. We are a wide array of gifts and talents. Some strong voices, some not so strong voices, some people who are capable of solos and do that for us, or ensembles, and some who really need to stand next to a partner, and their voices are glorious. The thing about a choir is that it belongs to all the singers, and it changes depending upon who is singing. It's an honor to direct this group. I'm going to buzz their names. When you hear your name, just raise your hand. If you want to sing a note, that would be fine too. Dodie Atkins Perry, keep it up there. Katie Allen, Nancy Backus, Holly Begley, Cindy Bernard, oh, Rick Bernard, ooh, Jim Bonner, Sandy Brandon can't be with us this morning. Joan Breen is not here. Sue Curtis, you are Sue. Rob Dragunas, in the back booth there. Valerie Fontaine is not here. Kimberly French. Bette Giddings, who's out of town. Dan Hotchkiss, hello from Kentucky. Doreen Levasseur, there you are. Mal Marvel. John Mullen. Andrea Priest. Ed Priest. Bill Sherman. Oh, Bill. Susie Sherman. Patty Simon. Amazing flutist, amazing musician there. Tony Soares, who's not with us. Jeff Stevens. And Nicola Wilbar. Thank you, our music volunteers. It is an act of love, and I hope that it is a happy act of love, and that you will continue always to sing. Thank you.
One important name that somehow got left out of that presentation is Music Director Susan Hotchkiss. And now, I think, as our final presenter is Jim Bonner, President of the Parish Committee.
Good morning, everybody. One little correction. The Clay Parlor has a task force that's in charge, and that is Susie Sherman representing Buildings and Grounds, and Vi Fairweather, Cheryl McQueen, Deanne Bonner, and Linda Thompson. And let's see. First of all, I wanted to thank the Parish Committee. The Parish Committee is supposed to meet monthly, but we often meet twice a month. We've probably met at least 40 times this year so far. When I took the job as president, I said I was going to need a lot of help. And I have had an enormous amount of help from our vice president, who's really a co-president. So Bob Waterman has been just enormously helpful to me in doing this job. Lois Aldridge is just marvelous in getting our minutes done, and also just participating and making wise comments and contributions. Likewise, Nicole Sykes with her good thoughts and participation. And lastly, Mark. And Mark has been on the parish committee for years and years and years, serving as treasurer and vice treasurer, assistant treasurer. And he's now retiring, and we wanted to give him a certificate of appreciation today. So Mark, if you come forward. Mark has said repeatedly that it's been one of the most important things in his life to do something important for our church. And then lastly, a year ago at this service, we were in desperate need. We were busy running around trying to find ministers to fill our pulpit week by week. And somebody came to church. He had been an intern minister here, and he loved this church enough that he came back just to see us. And I think it was the Shermans who said, "Hey, Jim, you better catch that guy because he's really good." So we are delighted to have Peter with us this year, and the PC has wanted to give him a thank you card and a little...
Lorenzo's Italian Restaurant and Bar. Somebody knows me pretty well. And the card says, we would like to recognize you for attending the most meetings of anyone in this church this past